Did you know that many seniors over 60 don't delay cleaning because they want to, but because their bodies simply won't let them do things the way they used to? What once felt like a 5-minute task, bending to pick up a sock, wiping down a counter, or dragging out the vacuum, can suddenly feel like climbing a hill. Pain, stiffness, fatigue, or limited mobility turn small chores into heavy burdens. To the outside world, it may look like clutter is piling up because of carelessness, but the truth is deeper. For many older adults, those stacks of mail on the table or laundry on the chair feel like anchors of safety and familiarity. But slowly, what seems like comfort begins to work against peace of mind. The clutter doesn't just take space on a shelf, it creeps into the mind, causing stress, worry, and even shame. Living rooms that were once places for family now feel closed off. Kitchens lose their warmth when dishes linger too long. And over time, it's not just the home that feels heavy, it's the heart too. That's why learning gentle, senior-friendly cleaning hacks isn't about chasing a spotless house, it's about protecting your independence and preserving your sense of dignity. Before we continue, hit like, tap subscribe, and don't forget to use the new hype button. YouTube lets you hype 3 videos a week, and each hype pushes this message higher so more seniors who need these tips can find them. Have you ever looked at a chore and felt the weight of exhaustion before even starting? Share your story in the comments, your words could be the encouragement another senior needs today. Meet Oswin Hale, a 74-year-old retired railroad worker from the rolling hills of Kentucky. His hands once gripped heavy iron tools, his shoulders bore the strain of decades spent repairing tracks, and his back carried the weight of work that kept trains moving safely across the country. Those years gave him pride and purpose, but they also left their mark. His knees creak with every step, his back stiffens after even the smallest bend, and the simplest movements now remind him of the price his body paid for a life of hard labor. For a long time, he thought household chores were no longer his responsibility. He told himself, "I've done enough work in my life, let the mess be." But as days turned into weeks, the dust settled deeper, the laundry grew higher, and the quiet house he once loved began to feel like a burden pressing down on him. Oswin's pride made it harder. He hated asking neighbors or even family for help. He remembered the man he used to be, the one who could lift steel without breaking a sweat, and he felt embarrassed that bending to wipe a table now left him sore. Each time he shuffled past the cluttered counter or saw the streaks on the bathroom mirror, a wave of defeat washed over him. He wasn't lazy, he was overwhelmed. The pain in his joints wasn't just physical anymore, it was emotional. It whispered to him that independence was slipping away. But something in Oswin refused to give in. He realized that if he couldn't clean the old way, he had to find a new way. That's when he began exploring gentle, creative hacks designed for seniors like him. He didn't want a spotless house, he wanted a livable, safe space that gave him dignity. Each hack became more than a trick, it became a lifeline. A grabber tool replaced the bending he dreaded. A lightweight vacuum replaced the heavy machine that haunted him. Short bursts of effort gave him control where exhaustion used to win. Slowly, his home transformed from a place of frustration into one of pride again. Today, Oswin's story proves that independence doesn't end when energy fades, it simply asks for new strategies. Hack 1, the extra arm tool. Oswin swears by his grabber stick, calling it the single most useful tool in his home. What began as a modest purchase soon became a daily lifeline that reshaped how he moved through his space. For years, bending to pick up even the smallest object sent pain through his back and knees, leaving him sore for hours afterward. The grabber changed that story. Now, instead of bracing himself for the ache that came with bending, he extends the tool and lifts what he needs with ease. It's a simple motion, but one that saves him from unnecessary strain dozens of times a day. Oswin is strategic about it. He doesn't keep just one grabber, he keeps several placed throughout his home. In the kitchen, the tool has rescued everything from fallen spoons to dishcloths that slipped off the counter. When a lightweight pan slides too far back on a shelf, he doesn't stretch dangerously, the grabber hooks it safely. In the living room, it's his solution for the stubborn TV remote that always ends up between the cushions, or for the newspaper that slides out of reach. By the laundry area, it pulls socks from the dryer drum without him having to stoop. Even in the hallway, when envelopes fall through the mail slot, the grabber means he doesn't risk a fall by leaning awkwardly. What makes this hack so powerful isn't just the physical convenience, it's the sense of confidence and independence it restores. For a man living with chronic stiffness and pain, every avoided bend is a small victory. Each use of the grabber affirms that he doesn't need to rely on others for the simplest tasks. He laughs when he says, "This thing has saved my back more than any doctor ever did," but behind the humor is truth. It has given him the reassurance that his body may be slower, but his independence isn't gone. For seniors, the grabber isn't just plastic and metal. It represents dignity, safety, and choice. It means fewer falls, less pain, and more control over the rhythm of daily life. It's proof that small adaptations can create big transformations. For Oswin, this single tool changed the way he feels about his home, not as a place full of obstacles, but as a space where he is still in control. Do you use a grabber tool already, or are you thinking of getting one? Comment yes if you already have one, or need one if you're planning to try it. Hack 2: Cleaning impulses. Oswin learned the hard way that tackling an entire house in one go left him exhausted for days. After one marathon cleaning session that ended with him collapsed in his recliner, he realized something had to change. That's when he adopted what he calls his pulse cleaning method. Instead of forcing his body to endure hours of bending, reaching, and walking, he breaks his chores into small 5-minute bursts spread throughout the day. It's not about finishing everything at once, it's about weaving cleaning into the natural pauses of daily life. Now, when his kettle is on the stove, he doesn't just stand idly by. He takes a dust cloth and wipes a shelf in the kitchen. When the TV goes to commercial, instead of flipping through channels, he picks up crumbs from the coffee table. If he's waiting for a phone call to connect, he straightens the magazine stacked on the end table. These little bursts don't drain his energy, yet they add up in powerful ways. By the end of the week, his house looks cared for without him ever having to gear up for an overwhelming cleaning day. Oswin says the best part of this approach is that it protects his joints while also lifting his spirit. "I used to dread Saturday because it meant chores I couldn't keep up with," he admits. "Now I never have to face that mountain, it's just pebbles spread out through the week." The sense of control that comes with this rhythm is what truly keeps him going. It reminds him that even with limited stamina, he can still shape his environment. For seniors, pulse cleaning isn't just a hack, it's a mindset shift. It reframes cleaning from a draining obligation into something gentle and sustainable. Each 5-minute win builds confidence and reduces the risk of overexertion. Would you rather clean in short bursts like Oswin, or do you still prefer one long stretch to get everything done at once? Let us know below, your answer might help another senior discover a better rhythm. Hack 3: Featherlight Vacuum. Vacuuming was once Oswin's most dreaded task. His old upright cleaner weighed nearly 15 pounds, and moving it around his house felt like dragging a stubborn mule from room to room. The noise was harsh, the bulk made it difficult to steer, and every corner seemed like a battle. He often had to stop halfway just to catch his breath, his back aching and his knees burning from the effort. The constant bending to plug and unplug the cord only added frustration. More often than not, he gave up before finishing a single floor. Dust and crumbs would gather, not because he didn't care about his home, but because the tool itself had become a barrier between him and a clean living space. Everything changed the day he decided to try a cordless stick vacuum. It weighed less than 4 pounds, a fraction of what he was used to. At first, he doubted such a small device could actually get the job done. But the moment he pushed it across his rug, he realized he was holding more than a vacuum, he was holding a piece of independence. "It feels like sweeping with air instead of dragging a beast," he said with a laugh. For the first time in years, vacuuming wasn't a chore he had to mentally prepare for. It was light, quick, and almost effortless. What made the difference wasn't just the weight but the design. Without cords, there was no tripping hazard, no constant bending to change outlets. With its wall-mounted storage, it was always charged and ready to go. Oswin even found himself vacuuming more often, sometimes daily, because it no longer drained his body. He could glide it across hardwood floors, carpets, and even stairs without fear of hurting himself. This one swap transformed vacuuming from a dreaded workout into a simple, manageable task. For seniors, choosing lighter tools isn't about giving in, it's about taking back control. Heavy equipment discourages cleaning, but lightweight tools invite it. Oswin no longer feels held back by his vacuum, instead, he feels supported by it. That small change gave him confidence and a sense of ownership over his space again. What heavy cleaning tool did you replace with something easier? Share your answer in the comments. Your solution might inspire another senior to lighten their load and protect their independence. Hack 4. Seated cleaning. For most of his life, Oswin believed cleaning was a job that required standing, bending, and stretching until the body gave in. He would kneel on aching knees to scrub the tub, lean dangerously into the fridge to wipe shelves, and hunch low to reach the baseboards. Every movement sent pain shooting through his back, and every chore carried the silent fear of falling. The tasks weren't just tiring, they were intimidating. That all changed when he discovered the idea of seated cleaning. At first, it felt almost too simple, like taking a shortcut, but it quickly proved to be a smarter, safer way to care for his home. With a sturdy rotating stool and a long-handled sponge, Oswin redefined what cleaning looked like for him. Instead of crouching on the bathroom floor, he sits comfortably and spins gently to cover the tiles. When dust gathers along the bottom of the sofa, he doesn't bend at the waist, he extends the sponge from his seat and sweeps it away. Even his refrigerator, once a dreaded space to reach into, became manageable. From his stool, he wipes the shelves in smooth arcs, keeping balance without strain. Every task once tied to discomfort is now approached with calm. The emotional change has been just as powerful as the physical one. He no longer avoids chores for fear of pain, and the anxiety of risking a fall has eased. "I don't stand until I have to," Oswin says proudly. Those words aren't about laziness, they are about wisdom. By adapting cleaning to fit his body's limits, he preserves energy for joyful activities, sitting on the porch with coffee, playing checkers with his grandson, or simply enjoying the quiet of a tidy home. Seated cleaning is more than a hack, it is a philosophy of protecting independence. It reminds seniors that dignity doesn't come from doing things the way they always have but from finding safer, kinder methods that let them stay in control. Would seated cleaning make chores easier for you? Drop a simple "yes" if it would, and your answer might encourage someone else to protect their body while keeping their home comfortable. Hack 5. The Daily Micro Reset. For years, Oswin tried to tackle his clutter in big cleaning sessions, only to find himself too exhausted to finish. What changed his perspective was realizing that a single small act, repeated daily, could keep his home in order without draining his energy. That's how he created his daily micro reset. Each evening, before turning in, he chooses just one flat surface, his nightstand, the coffee table, or the kitchen counter, and clears it completely. No exceptions. This single ritual brings him a sense of calm that lingers into the next morning. He explains it simply: "When I wake up and see a clean table, it feels like the whole day is already lighter." That one clear surface acts as an anchor of order, reminding him that he is in control of his environment, even if the rest of the house isn't perfect. Over time, he noticed that these resets kept clutter from snowballing into overwhelming piles. A counter cleared nightly never has the chance to turn into a mountain of unopened mail. A coffee table wiped before bed doesn't end up hidden beneath magazines and mugs. By doing a little each night, Oswin broke the cycle of letting small messes become big problems. This hack isn't just about tidiness, it's about peace of mind. For seniors living with pain or low energy, starting the day by facing chaos can feel crushing. The daily micro reset gives a fresh, manageable beginning. It requires no heavy lifting, no long hours, just a gentle commitment to one surface at a time. And that consistency is where the power lies. Oswin knows that even on his most tiring days, he can manage this task. That knowledge protects his dignity, proving that his home is still his domain. For seniors who feel overwhelmed by clutter, this hack is a reminder that cleaning doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be small, steady steps toward calm and order. Which surface in your home seems to collect the most clutter? Share it in the comments. Naming it might be your first step to reclaiming it. Hack 6. The one-trip basket. Oswin used to shuffle back and forth across his home dozens of times a day, picking up items from one room and carrying them to another. Each trip felt small at first, but together they drained his energy and punished his aching knees. He often found himself leaving things out simply because he couldn't face the endless walking. That's when he discovered the power of the one-trip basket. Instead of moving each item individually, he placed a lightweight basket in his hallway. Anything that didn't belong in the room he was in went into the basket. At the end of the day, or whenever he was already heading in that direction, he carried the basket and redistributed everything in one single trip. This simple change transformed how he managed clutter. The basket became a moving organizer, collecting scattered socks, letters, books, or even his reading glasses when he absent-mindedly left them behind. What once felt like a tiring series of chores turned into a streamlined routine. The energy saved by avoiding constant back and forth gave him more strength for things that truly mattered. I used to waste my knees walking circles around the house, Oswin says with a smile, but now I let the basket do the work. The beauty of this hack is its flexibility. Some days, he empties the basket in the evening as part of his wind-down routine. Other days, he leaves it until the next morning, when he feels more rested. Either way, clutter doesn't pile up the way it used to. For seniors, this method reduces physical strain and adds structure without requiring complicated systems. The basket is light, easy to handle, and always within reach. More importantly, the one-trip basket reinforces independence. Oswin no longer feels like small messes are chasing him from room to room. Instead, he's in control of when and how things are put back in place. That shift restores dignity and takes pressure off his body. Have you ever tried using a basket system to save energy while cleaning? Comment "basket hack" if you think it could work for you. Hack 7. Robot helper. Vacuuming, sweeping, and dusting used to leave Oswin drained for the rest of the day. Even with lighter tools, he still had to push, bend, and maneuver around furniture, movements that took a toll on his stiff joints. The breakthrough came when his daughter gifted him a small robot vacuum. At first, he was skeptical. He had always believed cleaning required his own effort, and he doubted a machine rolling around on wheels could really handle the job. But once he set it loose after supper, he realized how much it could do for him while he rested. "It works while I recover." That's teamwork, he says with a grin. The robot became more than a gadget, it became a quiet partner. Each evening, Oswin sits with his tea, and while he unwinds, the device hums softly across his floors, gathering dust, crumbs, and pet hair. It navigates around his furniture, slips under chairs, and covers corners he used to struggle to reach. What impressed him most wasn't its speed but its consistency. He no longer had to let dirt accumulate for days, waiting until he had enough energy for a major cleaning session. Instead, the robot maintained a steady rhythm, keeping his home presentable every day. For seniors, this hack isn't about replacing effort with laziness, it's about preserving health. Every avoided bend, every skipped strain, is energy saved for activities that truly bring joy. Oswin finds that the robot gives him peace of mind, knowing that his house remains cared for even on days when pain makes movement difficult. It has turned cleaning from an exhausting obligation into a background process, quietly supporting his independence. This hack also eases the mental burden. He no longer worries about guests dropping by unannounced or about dust piling up beyond control. Instead, his evenings are calmer, his home feels fresher, and his body remains protected. Do you trust robot vacuums to handle the job? Share your answer in the comments. Your perspective might help another senior decide whether to let technology lend them a hand. Hack 8. Divide and Rest Principle. Oswin used to think that cleaning had to be done all at once, a long, tiring session where he pushed through the pain just to get it over with. But those marathons often left him so exhausted that he couldn't enjoy the rest of the day, and sometimes he was sore for the entire week. That cycle left him dreading chores more and more. The shift came when he adopted what he now calls the divide and rest principle. Instead of treating cleaning like a sprint, he treats it like a gentle walk spread over days. He divides his chores into zones and assigns them to different days. Monday might be for the kitchen sink. Tuesday, the mirrors and glass. Wednesday, the hallway floors. Thursday, the bathroom counters. By Friday, each small piece has been handled, and the home feels refreshed without him ever collapsing in exhaustion. Breaking it down this way gives him permission to rest without guilt. He no longer feels pressured to tackle the entire house in one go, and that relief has changed the way he looks at his home. This principle isn't just about time management, it's about protecting his body. By focusing on one area at a time, he avoids the repetitive strain that comes with hours of bending and stretching. It also gives him flexibility. If one day is harder on his joints, he simply moves that task to another, knowing that consistency matters more than perfection. One task a day keeps the mess away, Oswin jokes, but beneath the humor is a serious truth: pacing yourself is the key to longevity. For seniors, the divide and rest principle offers freedom. It removes the overwhelming feeling of staring at a house full of chores and replaces it with the satisfaction of steady progress. Each completed task feels like a small victory, adding up to a home that stays safe and comfortable without sacrificing health. Would you try one task a day cleaning like Oswin, or do you prefer to push through all at once? Share your answer in the comments. Your insight might give another senior the courage to slow down and pace themselves. Hack 9. Music and Memory Cleaning. For Oswin, cleaning used to feel like a never-ending list of chores, dull, repetitive, and physically demanding. But then he discovered that pairing cleaning with moments of joy transformed the task into something meaningful. His favorite way to do this is what he calls music and memory cleaning. Each time he starts a small chore, he puts on his old jazz records, the same ones he collected when he was a young railroad worker traveling through different towns. As the music fills the room, the work feels lighter, almost like he's being carried by the rhythm instead of dragging himself through it. But it isn't just the music. Oswin begins every cleaning session with one specific area: his record player shelf. On it sits not only his turntable and vinyl collection but also mementos of his late wife and photos of his grandson. Dusting that shelf first brings back powerful emotions: the laughter he shared with his wife while dancing to old songs, the joy of teaching his grandson about the music of his generation, and the comfort of familiar melodies. What once felt like a chore becomes a ritual of connection. The act of wiping away dust becomes symbolic, clearing space not just physically but emotionally, too. This hack matters because it reframes cleaning from a burden into a source of comfort. By linking chores to music and memories, Oswin gives his actions deeper meaning. Instead of focusing on pain or fatigue, he focuses on joy and nostalgia. That mental shift motivates him to keep going, because the task no longer feels empty. Seniors can adapt this approach to their own lives. Maybe it's playing gospel hymns while tidying the kitchen, or dusting a family photo wall while remembering loved ones. Cleaning with joy first creates momentum. It reminds seniors that their homes are not just structures to maintain but living archives of their lives. For Oswin, starting with music means he never feels weighed down by the rest of the house. What's one item in your home that brings you joy when you see it? Share it in the comments. It might be the key to making your cleaning lighter, too. Hack 10. Safety first, perfect later. In his younger years, Oswin chased perfection whenever he cleaned. He would scrub until every corner gleamed, pushing his body beyond its limits just to feel like the house was truly done. But now, with stiff knees and a back that protests every bend, he's learned to set a different priority: safety before perfection. For him, that means clear walkways, dry bathroom floors, and clutter-free kitchen counters always come first. Those are the areas where accidents happen, and he knows that one fall could change his independence forever. He starts with the spots that matter most. The bathroom, once the most dangerous room in his home, is now a priority zone. He uses non-slip mats and wipes water immediately so he doesn't risk sliding. In the kitchen, he ensures the counters are free from spills or clutter that could cause him to reach awkwardly or knock things over. The hallways are kept open, with shoes, bags, and newspapers placed neatly aside so he can move without stumbling. These changes don't take much effort, but they give him enormous peace of mind. Oswin admits that some dust may linger on the top shelf or that the windows don't always sparkle the way they once did. But he's made peace with that. If the paths are clear, I can breathe easier, he says. That shift in mindset is liberating. By letting go of the pressure to make everything perfect, he's reclaimed the energy to focus on what really matters, keeping his home safe and livable. For seniors, this hack is about more than cleaning, it's about protecting independence. Perfection can wait, but safety cannot. Clear floors, tidy counters, and secure walkways make the difference between living confidently and living in fear of the next accident. Oswin's approach is a reminder that choosing safety first doesn't mean lowering standards, it means setting smarter ones. Do you agree safety matters more than spotless? Comment, safe first, if you do, and let's remind one another that the most beautiful homes are the ones that keep us standing strong. When Oswin first faced the reality of cleaning after his surgery, he felt as though his home had turned against him. The rooms he once moved through with ease now seemed like obstacles, every corner filled with reminders of what he couldn't do anymore. Dust gathered on the shelves, laundry piled on the chair, and floors he used to keep spotless now carried traces of neglect. For the first time in his life, he felt ashamed to invite anyone inside. What he feared most wasn't the dust or the clutter, but what they represented, the thought that his independence had slipped away for good. The change began slowly. With each hack he adopted, the weight lifted. The grabber stick stopped being a novelty and became his extra arm, giving him back the ability to control his space without pain. The robot vacuum that he once doubted now hums quietly in the evenings, doing its work while he rests with tea in hand. His nightly micro-reset transformed his mornings, because starting the day with one clear, clutter-free surface gave him strength to face the rest. Even the simple act of cleaning while seated restored confidence, reminding him that adaptation doesn't mean defeat, it means wisdom. Over time, his home stopped being a burden and became a sanctuary again. He no longer looks at his house as a collection of chores waiting to trap him. Instead, he sees it as a safe, warm place where he can live on his own terms. The fear of falling has been replaced by the comfort of knowing that his hallways are clear, his bathroom is secure, and his daily routines are sustainable. What once felt like punishment now feels like protection. What once drained him now brings pride. For Oswin, these hacks prove that independence after 60 isn't about doing everything the hard way, it's about finding gentle strategies that keep dignity intact. His story is a reminder to every senior that small changes create powerful transformations, and that control over your home, and your life, can always be reclaimed. If these hacks gave you hope, don't just hype this video right now. Every hype spreads this message so more seniors can find relief and discover that life at home can be easier. Share it with a friend who might be struggling, leave a comment with the hack you'll try first, and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors. Because after 60, life isn't about proving strength through struggle, it's about doing what matters in the gentlest way possible.